Hi honey, how are you? It's Teknikolour, and today I have another speed build for you. This time it's a little bit shorter than what we normally do. I actually made a couple of changes to that Spellcaster house that I had made a while back. This is my Legacy Challenge house. So right now we are playing with Generation 5, Archimedes Wyndham, and living in Glimmerbrook. And we are a spellcaster, and we have reached the highest level. We have fully finished the skill tree, and I can transportalate myself now anywhere. So one of the things that I wanted to do was I wanted to integrate a few ideas that I had had initially when I was designing Archimedes Wyndham's home. And one of those ideas was actually from my boyfriend, Cinnabon Andy. He had the idea to sort of have a house for a spellcaster that would be connected with like staircases, but also be kind of floating. And then using the sort of like gems or jewels that you can get in the Realm of Magic debug, have those as kind of like the underside of those like mini buildings. So I decided to get rid of the stairs because I felt like there was no need for them since Archimedes can now transportalate himself anywhere. But I still wanted to have them floating and have the crystals underneath. So I basically just put a bunch of them under each of these mini rooms that I made. I might expand them. I might decide that I need a little bit more space or maybe even less space. For instance, one of the rooms right now, I think just has Archimedes' crafted guitar and then I think a death flower in it because I didn't have room in my greenhouse. Which is kind of funny if you've seen the greenhouse because it's massive. But I don't know. I kind of just wanted to play with that idea. And plus my boyfriend was a little bit sad when I made Archimedes' house and I didn't have this element in it. But even if I wanted to, when I started the house, and I did it with staircases, instead of having our spellcaster transportalate, we didn't have the money. This seems to be a recurring theme in my Legacy Challenge where I run out of money because we only have like a select amount of money that we're making, and then we can only take a portion of that when we move out, when like our next heir is taking over. We never have a lot of money. Like in this speed build, you'll see that I give my Generation 4 sim, who's now moved into this lot, Luella Wyndham, she finally gets curtains in her bedroom, which in her house, she barely had curtains anywhere in the house because we didn't have the money for it when I built our house. But I decided I wanted to use some of the Realm of Magic orbs. I kind of just wanted to I don't know, play around, see what I could come up with. I like having different colored crystals under each of the rooms, kind of like they're color coded for like specific purposes. They're not, but kind of just giving that sort of idea. And it's interesting because the rest of the Sims here can't get into those places. For instance, our Archimedes, his father, he is a spellcaster, but he really hasn't done anything in Realm of Magic, so he can't transportalate. Gemma Wyndham, who is our Generation 6 sim, she also can't transportalate, but she's also just a child. And our sister, who doesn't live on this lot, she actually lives on the lot next door, Morgana Wyndham, I don't think I've done anything with her, but she can't transportalate either, as far as I'm aware. So this is kind of just for Archie. And I think it fits because we had made a room where you can see in the main house where that cauldron is. That was his potions room. And he was the only one able to access that previously, except for his cat, Patches. We had Patches be able to access it. Patches can still access it, but I don't think even with Patches being a familiar that they can get into these rooms. Basically, what I decided for these three spaces was one of them is going to be his like actual office. So I put his computer in there. I put a couple of storage spaces where we have his wands on top. I don't even know if he's got more than one wand, but I do have spaces to display them. And then the other one is the seance table or the seance room. So our career is paranormal investigator, and we're not doing well, like at all. One of the tasks that we have for Archie is we're going to have him grind in the paranormal investigator career because he keeps failing. I don't know what it is. I think maybe it's kind of bugged in my save and I don't really know how to fix it, but not a lot of stuff is popping up. We don't have specters showing up. Like sometimes we'll have the dolls show up or like the twisted hands. Stuff like that like rarely ever shows up in any iteration, whether it's beginner or even the expert versions. I don't know. I'm sure it's bugged. I just don't know how to fix it. But now that we are the highest level of the medium skill, I think just spamming the thing where he just like does a seance, I think that will help us immensely. It's just very time consuming. So I don't know. But currently he's got like really poor work performance and we've got to fix that. I kind of jinxed myself though, because previously I had said in the past few generations, our heir has made so much money. Like they've done really well in their careers. I think the only one who hadn't gotten to the top of their career was maybe Basil, which was our generation 3 sim. He was in the gardening career and I don't think he got to like the absolute top, but I think he was like maybe like one level away. Luella had reached the top of her career almost instantly. She did it like very quickly. And now her son, Archimedes, is like failing at work. And I'm not happy about it. I know it's freelance, so I don't think he can technically get fired, but it's just really disappointing when you go in to have a gig and he's just not performing well. Even if he's like performing well, like I think we had done one of the beginners, even without Spectre showing up, and we just had like maybe like 2 dolls show up and we're just spamming the seances. His performance gain was so small. And even with Crystal Creations, I have him wear jewelry where he is able to get like more, I guess, like work performance. He's not gaining it. I don't know. I also feel like there's a bug in my save directly related to the jewelry that you make in Crystal Creations, because I will have him wear jewelry that is like fully charged. Like there's 2 days charge of it. And he will go to a gig and then he'll come home and they'll be drained. The jewelry itself will have drained completely. And I don't think that has anything to do with the haunted house. I don't think that would end up draining the jewelry. But it does. It's like fully drained. Weirdly enough, though, when he travels to go to work, it doesn't drain. It's only when he's traveling to come back home. So I don't know if any of you have experienced that, but if you have, let me know. And if you know how to fix it, I would really appreciate it. It took me a really long time to come up with what curtains to use for Luella's room. I don't know. I kind of just recreated her room exactly like it was at home. Well, not exactly, but like kind of design-wise, I did as best as I could. And I think it's beautiful. I am not a fan of yellow or pink really, but that's kind of like her whole color scheme. And I think it came out really well. I'm actually like really, really happy with the way that I've designed the spaces for Luella, like her previous house and her space here. I don't know that I'm as much in love with the color scheme and the overall design that I've done, at least interior, for Archimedes. Like, I like his house, but there's just something off about it, and I don't really know what it is. I think it's the fact that it's a little more open than Luella's house was, and all of my previous builds were much more closed off. I'm not a big fan of open floor plans, and this isn't like a huge open floor plan, but there's a lot of like openings to all of the other rooms. I don't know. Overall, I do think I really like the look of this house. I feel like I didn't lay out the space as well as I could have. Also, I started working on a gym when I started making some of these improvements, because our father, Archimedes' dad, Gage Wyndham, he is I don't know if he's a fitness instructor or if he's like a celebrity bodybuilder, something like that. We didn't really pay that much attention to him when we were in Luella's generation, but I don't know. I kind of feel like now that he's an elder, I kind of want to work on him and Luella a little bit more. Luella's basically done. I finished everything that I had to for her. Like, her career is done. Her skills are all where I wanted them to be, at least for the challenge itself. However, Gage, I really wasn't sure what to do with him. So I think we're going to try to do a little bit more with him. And now that we actually have a gym space, which I definitely should have put in Luella's house, but I didn't. But now we have a little gym area. So that's also going to be helpful for the other Sims as well, because I feel like I don't usually have my Sims do any sort of exercise. They're a lot like me in that sense. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. I actually did play test it a bit and it worked out. I was a little concerned that the spacing was going to make it so that they could only use the treadmill, but not the case, not the case. I also wanted to rearrange a little bit of furniture. So you can see I moved some things in the kitchen, and that's because I kind of want to make a fire toilet. You know how you can upgrade the toilet? I think since Eco Lifestyle, you can upgrade your toilet so it uses like compost. I think we added that last stream on Thursday, but I don't know if that's the upgrade that I needed. We'll see, but there's an upgrade that you can do to the toilet where I think instead of flushing it uses compost, and then it can randomly start fires. I thought it would be interesting for gameplay. It's probably a bad idea, but we'll see. I also spent a really long time trying to figure out where to put this one photo of Archie and his sister Morgana. And I think I ended up putting it in the cabinet in the potions room, but I don't know. I kind of don't understand why I can't alt place those. I feel like I've seen other people alt place them, but then it was just not working right. I don't know. I also rearranged the greenhouse, like hardcore. We had a whole bunch of those little planters and it just wasn't working out for me. And actually, a lot of what you're seeing here today in this speed build, at least in the greenhouse, I had to rearrange because we ended up also finding out that they couldn't get to the crystal tree. So I had to make a couple of adjustments and move some of these items out of this room. For instance, I had like a little play area in here for Gemma Wyndham. And then once we aged her up into a child, we found out we couldn't actually access it. So then I moved that into her bedroom. I also condensed a lot of the like mini planters into like the big like crafted like planter boxes. And I think I'm okay with that. I always feel like they're kind of clunky and then there's not enough space to do everything that you want, but we'll see. Part of why I wanted a greenhouse for this generation was because generation 3 was our gardening sim. So Basil's whole career was gardening, and that was the whole focus of his generation. And then his daughter was cats and dogs. So she was focused on pet training. We had her in the musician career, and she did a little bit of gardening, but she didn't have a greenhouse. And I think she recently ended up getting to level 10 of gardening. And I think I've decided that I want to continue having aspects of my previous generations continue along. So for instance, Gemma is already a spellcaster. I don't know if we'll keep that as a thing, but maybe we'll have some of our people have, I don't know, like the medium skill or something like that. We've also had Luella, our generation 4 sim, become obsessed with gemstones and the whole gemology skill. So I think that's going to continue in future generations as well. But I wanted Archie, our generation 5 sim, I wanted him to still continue gardening. So I wanted to do as much as I could with that. I was also very upset because it's winter in my game right now, and I wanted to decorate a lot of these windows because that was my whole plan when we moved here. I wanted to decorate inside the windows, and because it looks like you can put stuff on there, but because it's technically outside and it's not part of the interior. When you go to alt place the items, they get snow on them in the winter. So that was a little frustrating. So I didn't want to bother decorating them because they're just going to look like they have snow on them. I don't know. I was very frustrated with that. We decided we're just not going to do it at all. So we moved on. We put some more decorations in here. I spent a lot of time in the greenhouse. I also spent some time on our deck and in our backyard in general. I was also recently gifted the little campers kit, and I wanted to use a lot of those items in the backyard because I feel like it's kind of perfect for this space. There's a lot of space in my backyard where I'm not really doing anything, so I wanted to add more entertaining space. Obviously, they can't use it until after winter because I don't know about you, I wouldn't want to be out there in the cold. But I wanted to do as much as I could with that kit. So I added a lot of elements from there. I also rearranged our front porch a little bit. I moved some of the rose bushes that we had recently gotten. And then I started to use some of the horse ranch, rocking chairs. And then I wanted a space where maybe we could have drinks out there. Maybe we could have some music. So I wanted a little bit of an entertaining space. And that's kind of where we left off on there. I should probably touch on the Around the World's Legacy Challenge, which is, of course, the Legacy Challenge that I'm playing. I wrote it with my boyfriend, Cinnabon, and I have been thoroughly enjoying this Legacy Challenge. I had only done one Legacy Challenge before this, and that one I wrote myself too. It was the Little Mermaid Challenge. I'm a huge fan of the Little Mermaid and Disney in general, so I'm very familiar with Princess Ariel's story, so I figured it would be easy to learn The Sims and play through Ariel's life. So basically we started off with King Triton and Queen Athena, and then we went all the way through until Ariel had her daughter, Melody, and Melody aged up into a mermaid, and then that was the end of the challenge. Here, however, each generation is focused on a different world. So for instance, our first world was San Sequoia, and we were focused on like family. So our founder like really wanted to be like an amazing dad and like give his kids like this big opportunity for the future. And there's like a focus on having a family reunion with each generation. So that's kind of like what we were setting ourselves up with. And then our second generation, we went to college. So Discovery University, we were in Foxbury. Generation 3, we went to Henford-on-Bagley and we became a gardener. We had our own little farm. Generation 4 is cats and dogs, and we did a lot of the pet training, and we just had like our Cape Cod style house. It was like very beautiful. It's probably my favorite build that I've ever done, at least in the Legacy Challenge. And then now we're on Generation 5 with Spellcasters, and I've already like excelled at spellcasting, but we also have the paranormal stuff pack as part of this, and we're not doing the greatest with that. So we need to get better. But Gemma, our Generation 6 sim, she's a child now, so we have to start preparing for her generation, which will be city living. And I'm really excited for that one because it sounds like it's going to start giving me like way more of a challenge. I feel like I've gotten like my footing in the Legacy Challenge, and now it's going to start like shaking things up a bit. So she's going to start off in like kind of like a rundown apartment, and she has to save up until she can get like a penthouse. So that's going to take us a bit. And I'm just excited to see like where this challenge goes, and we will be adding to it because we only had all of the packs or worlds that I had access to, and since then I've gotten more because I have no self-control when it comes to The Sims, and we'll have to add on to it. So if you're interested, there's only a couple of generations currently, but we're definitely going to be adding more. I play this every Tuesday and Thursday morning over on my Twitch channel. If you'd like to come and join us, you're more than welcome to. It's basically the same name over there. It's just twitch.tv/Teknikolour. And tomorrow actually, if you're watching this on Wednesday, the day it's it's published, where we're starting Gemma with childhood. She literally just aged up. So it's a pretty good time to jump in. But as time goes on, so if you're not watching this like immediately, Gemma's going to be focusing on kind of like the whole city living experience. So even if you miss like some of her childhood, she will be aging up. She'll be a teenager, and then we'll be going to San Myshuno. So if you'd like to check it out, I would really appreciate it. But anyway, I'm also going to link down below the original speed build of Archimedes' house, because if you're interested in seeing how this house started, I did do a speed build of that. It's just kind of going to evolve with us over time. So already we've redone Gemma's room, which isn't in this, unfortunately. But if you'd like to see that again, you'll see that on Twitch. I might do like a final video of Archimedes' house, but I kind of feel like we've already done 2 YouTube videos on this man's house. It's not even my favorite build, but we'll see. We'll see. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you wouldn't mind liking and subscribing, you have no idea how much it would mean to me. It really helps with the algorithm. But if you also want to hang out with chat, we stream pretty much every day except for Wednesdays and Sundays. This week, we're getting into Palea as well. So be sure to check that out if that interests you. That's all from me. I'll see you in the next video, or maybe in my Twitch chat. Bye-bye.